FHA financing is one of the most common programs that's used amongst first-time home buyers and for a lot of people that don't want to put a lot of money down on their home purchase. So in today's video, I'm going to be sharing some of the pros and the cons and everything about FHA loans. And if this is the first time that you're checking out my channel, I appreciate you watching and checking us out because we talk about everything about real estate, home loans, and for all of you that are thinking about maybe relocating here to Vegas, we give you the lowdown on all the neighborhoods in town, and hopefully you guys can see why we love calling Las Vegas home. If you guys have any specific questions, please comment below, send me a text, send me an email. I'd be happy to talk to you guys specifically and answer those questions individually for you guys and give you some guidance and hopefully either help you with a home purchase, refinance, or maybe with a relocation here to Vegas. So hit the bell. So every time we drop new content every single week, you get notified of all of our new videos. So let's hop into today's list. Let's start with the pros first. One of the pros about FHA financing is that it's a low money down program, right? FHA financing is only 3.5% down. The big myth out there in the real estate world or the mortgage world for that matter is everyone still thinks to this day you have to put 20% down. Totally not the case. 3.5% down. In this market here in Las Vegas, for some of you that are renting, that 3.5% is probably the equivalent of maybe your last month's rent and maybe even your security deposit. So becoming a homeowner and saving up some money is not that hard. 3.5%, guys, it's very doable. And I know a lot of you out there can look at your own savings or maybe put a plan together to come up with that money so you can purchase your first house. Another pro for an FHA loan is that it's lenient on the credit scores. Now, conventional financing is typically for little stronger borrowers when it comes to credit scores and down payments. But FHA, right, it's a government program. We can go as low as a 580 credit score for financing. Yes, 580. Some lenders can actually go a little lower, but here at Loan Depot, we're at a 580 for FHA financing, which in my opinion, that's still pretty low, guys. So you don't have to have perfect credit. And that was the whole reason why the FHA loan was created. It was created to help first-time home buyers purchase property, right? So you have a low money down and you have lower credit scores that you could then get yourself into a position to purchase a home. Another great thing about the FHA loan is that you can usually have slightly higher debt-to-income ratios. Again, comparing this to a conventional loan, you're usually going to be 41, 43% of your debt to income ratio. FHA, you can actually exceed that. So again, for the first time home buyer that maybe your debt to income ratio is just a little higher and you don't have as much money down, this is one of the great reasons why people do use the program because again, it is a little more lenient in terms of guidelines. And for people to qualify so that the way you can purchase. And another pro is that there's no income limit when it comes to using the FHA loan. Now you might think that, hey, if I'm using this program and it's 3.5% down and there's all these great perks to it and it being more lenient, traditionally you have some of these community-based programs which help with down payment assistance and stuff like that, that there's income limits. So you can't make over a certain dollar amount in order to fit into this program, but with FHA financing, it's open to anybody. You could have purchased homes in the past, right? You could have just sold a home and you're buying another property. You can use FHA. So it's not for strictly first-time home buyers. It's not a one-time use thing. You can use it more than once, but check with your lender in terms of qualifying because sometimes what I have seen is people use FHA loans, move into the house, move out, rent it, use FHA, try to use FHA again to move in and then rent it. Now, you're trying to game the system there. So just be a little careful. That's what you're looking to do. Check with your lender, make sure that you have your loans properly financed because again, that could be an issue going down the road if that's something that you are looking to do. So those are some of the pros about FHA financing. Now let's hop into the cons. And one of the first cons that I want to talk about is that FHA has what we call upfront mortgage insurance. So because you're not using conventional financing to where you can qualify for the mortgage insurance, or you're putting 20% down so you don't have any mortgage insurance, FHA finances a portion of that into your mortgage payment. So it's a 1.75% factor is what we use. So sometimes when you're looking at your qualifications or your loan estimates, you're going to see this number that has UFMIP, which is upfront mortgage insurance. That's financed into your loan, and it looks like sometimes that you have to come out of pocket with this, but it is financed into your mortgage payment. So that way you obviously now have mortgage insurance on your property. So the trade-off is, right, conventional financing, there's multiple ways that we can structure your mortgage insurance. However, you usually have to have a higher credit score to qualify to do that. But that's the trade-off, right, with FHA. A little more lenient, which is a pro, but in terms of it being a con, you do have the mortgage insurance that's financed. So you do have to factor that in when you get qualified. Now, another con, especially here in Las Vegas, it's hard to get FHA loans financed with a condo. Now, in Las Vegas, a lot of these condo projects have litigation. And for most lenders, we don't want to get involved with the litigation because we don't know how that's going to play out. Now, FHA actually has a list that's available to the public. You can see which projects are FHA approved. Here in Las Vegas, that's one of the biggest issues that we have when it comes to people that they're not able to qualify maybe for a high enough mortgage to purchase a home. They either look at townhomes or condos. Now, if you're looking at a condo, we have to make sure that if you're using FHA financing, it's on the FHA approved list. If it's not, we have to go through the process to see if can we even get this approved. And obviously that's a shot in the dark, because if it's denied, there's probably a reason for it. And unless that reason's been fixed, you're probably not going to get financing. And then you have to just flip it to conventional to see if you can make it work. So here in Las Vegas, specifically, condo financing with FHA loans is a little more difficult. In fact, I just talked to a lady before we shot this video that was looking to purchase a home. She went to another lender that was an out-of-state lender, an online lender, that they qualified her for FHA financing. She's trying to buy a condo, and now she can't qualify. So again, I always preach working with someone local, or if you're going to work with a national lender or somebody that doesn't even live in the state, make sure that they know what you're buying, right? Make sure that they are well aware of that you're looking to buy a condo. And if they don't know that there's potential pitfalls up front, you might want a second opinion. Now, this lady that I literally talked to a few minutes ago, she's 3 weeks into her deal, and the lender told her that she can't qualify for financing. So now she's came to us today and scrambling to figure out if we can get her approved for financing. So don't let that happen to you, especially if you're thinking about purchasing a condo, because again, here in Las Vegas, a lot of hoops to jump through to make sure you can make it happen. Now, as far as a townhome goes, townhomes don't apply to that. You can finance a townhome, no problem. But for those of you that are strictly sold on purchasing a condo, make sure you check with your lender to see if maybe some of the units you're looking at are approved. If they're not, you might need to look at another way to get your financing completed so you don't have any problems in the future. And another con with FHA is that there's actually a loan limit. So depending on where you're purchasing across the country, every state, every county is going to have a different loan limit. Here in Las Vegas, it's about $362,000. Anything over and above that does not qualify for FHA financing. So again, double check with your lender to make sure that what you qualify for is going to fly. Because again, if they're not familiar with the county or the state and you're using somebody who doesn't live there, they might tell you, hey, you can purchase a $400,000 house using FHA financing, but that's not going to fly because you're over the loan limit. So another thing, do your due diligence, do your homework up front just to make sure that your financing is going to work for the county that you are purchasing in. Another con that I'm actually going to piggyback off of what I mentioned earlier about people using FHA financing and then turning their homes into rentals, FHA loans are for primary residences only. So for those of you that are thinking of moving and you're not actually living in the state yet, you can't use FHA financing unless you're allowed to work remotely. But for those of you that your jobs are transferring you and you're just unsure when all that's going to go down, or you buy rental property, you can't use an FHA loan. That low money down option is strictly for your primary residence only. If you're buying a second or vacation home, you're looking at 10% down. Or if you're buying an investment property, you're looking at least 20 to 25% down. So a lot of times people might try to game the system and say that they're gonna live in the house when they're really not gonna live in the house, and they wanna use FHA financing because it's only 3.5%. Guys, that's loan fraud. You don't wanna do that. You don't want to get bad advice, because I've talked to a few people recently that was given bad advice about, hey, if you're going to live in the house, that's fine, and then you can just turn it into a rental right after. You can't do that. You're intentionally lying to the lender for the sake of buying the house to rent it out. If your intent is to buy it as a rental, it's a rental. Put the money down, right? FHA is designed for those people that don't have a lot of money, and they can get in with 3.5% versus the maybe 5, 10, 20% down, that conventional financing offers. So don't try to game the system. Do the right thing. Put the money down if you're looking to buy a second home or vacation home or an investment property. Don't use FHA and think you're going to get away with it, because you might think you're going to get away, but the lender will probably find out at some point, and you don't want to deal with that. That's just a headache for yourself. And the last con about FHA loans is that the monthly mortgage insurance that you pay, it's on there forever. The only way you can get out of it is to refinance into a conventional loan. So some people don't like that, simple fact, but remember, that's the trade-off, right? You're putting less money down, you got the mortgage insurance. So if and when your house appreciates and now you get to the point of having enough equity to refinance and get rid of your mortgage insurance, you would have to refi into a conventional loan to get rid of that. So even though it's a con, to me, it's okay, right? Because if that was the only deciding factor between you buying and not buying a house, I personally think there's a lot more pro to owning a home, building equity, than being focused on maybe the $200 a month that you're going to pay in mortgage insurance, and to say that you don't want to waste your money. But I think renting is also wasting money too. So I definitely wouldn't let that stop you. That is a con. Like I said, the only way to get rid of it, you got to refi out of that loan in order to get rid of that monthly payment. So there you have it. Pros, cons, FHA financing. I think it's a great program. Like I said, here in Las Vegas, a lot of first-time home buyers are using it simply because of the low down payment and the credit score. I think those are the two biggest things that hold people back from buying a house, because a lot of people think that they have to have a 750 credit score and I got to put 20% down, right? So if that's what you think, and it's hard to save money these days, and especially with everything that's been going on, and to think, hey, the average home price in Las Vegas, it's maybe 340, 350,000. 20% of that's 68,000 bucks. For a lot of people, they don't even got 20 grand in the bank. So to think that if you had to save 20% to buy a house, you might be saving for the rest of your life to buy a property. So utilize FHA, 3.5% down. Like I said, a lot of people think you got to have a 740. We can go as low as a 580 and still get financing. So very lenient. It's very popular. And if you guys have any questions regarding your specific situation, whether or not FHA might work better for you, or maybe conventional is a better route to go, we'd be happy to talk to you about that. If you got pre-approved, you need a second opinion, send me a message, send me an email. And if you guys have specific questions or feel like I missed anything, comment below, and I'll be happy to reply to you and get you some information. And as always, I appreciate you watching. I appreciate you subscribing and sharing this video with your friends. And I'll see you on the next one.